Business is brought to you by Audible.com.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Married with a Business. I'm Craig.
And I'm Allison.
And we're Married with a Business. We're here to share tips, tricks, stories of what it's like to be a married couple that are entrepreneurs, that are parents, that run a business, that are tired all the time.
And have teens and almost teens.
Yeah, we are weeks, practically days away from having two teenagers. How does that make you feel?
Ooh.
That hurt a little, didn't it?
It hurts a little. It's a sandwich generation in so many ways.
Yeah.
Two teenage boys are tough.
Yeah, teenage boys are crazy.
Everybody was like, oh, they're only 22 months apart. It'll just be tough until they both get out of diapers.
Nope.
They're lying. They were lying.
No, but it's fun to have them. We have a good time. We do lots of stuff, we do boy stuff.
Why are you crying? I just asked if you wanted a sandwich. I don't understand. I was perfect as a teenager. I don't understand.
It's funny. Now that I have two teens going through puberty, I want to cry more. And I haven't cried in years. We've had a good time, though, recently. We just recently did the Top Gun run with the boys. Yeah, they had never seen any of the Top Guns. So we did the original Top Gun. And then the next weekend, we watched the Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, and it was so much fun. And then our older son, he gets fixated on things. So then he found a documentary on the flight school and stuff. And now he's into watching the MASH TV show. It's kind of fun and neat for him to see these paths and how he takes one thing and learns about other things with it.
I am guessing that he's probably one of maybe a handful of 14-year-olds, possibly in the country, that are rewatching MASH.
I mean, he finished the I Love Lucy run, too. So.
He likes old TV. It's kind of funny. No, he's great. Speaking of people who have boys, who are we talking to today?
So today we are talking to Mike and Summer, and they are the founders of Rustic Main.
And they also have two boys.
Who are older than ours. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to say about raising boys. But what's so cool about them, all right, is Mike is a U.S. Navy veteran, ties into the Top Gun stuff, and he started a business in his garage. He started making these really cool custom wedding rings 16 years ago. And Summer was a stay-at-home mom at the time, and now they have this company out of North Carolina. They've got a whole team. They make these really cool custom rings. You can have inlays done in them. It's just, their story is so cool.
Yeah, if you go to their website, by the way, rusticandmain.com, if you go to their website, these wedding bands that they make are awesome. Like I kind of want, I know that my wedding band special, I've been wearing it 20 years. I haven't taken it off. These wedding bands are pretty awesome looking. Like they made them out of like old ship wood, oak from an old ship, and
inlaid pieces of wedding dresses, like just the coolest thing. And they have a team of over 30 people. All of these local, really cool artisans, like just amazing what they're doing.
But what's more amazing is that they started this business after their kids were kind of grown up and after they had been married for 20 years practically, and then they started this business together as a husband and wife team.
All right. Let's talk to them. Let's go.
Everybody, we're very excited to have Mike and Summer Yarbrough from Rustic Main, an awesome, wait till you hear about this jewelry company that's down in North Carolina, but online. You can get their stuff everywhere. Very cool. Mike and Summer, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, glad to be here, guys.
So tell me a little bit about your relationship. How did you guys meet?
Oh,
Do you want me
gosh.
to take that?
You can take it because I'll get the dates all wrong, and then you'll just correct me, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So juniors in high school. He was in the English class that I had been put in, and I was brand new to a city, had been raised in a really small town. This Jackson, Tennessee seemed to be a large town to me. And I kind of looked around and surveyed all the kids and was like, he's going to be my friend. I can just tell he had long hair and wore the 1990s grunge stuff. the flannel and jeans and stuff like that. So that's how we met. We met in school as juniors, and we actually got married when we were 18. He was 27 days past 18.
Oh, wow.
And went into the military, and spent our first 2 years separated, actually.
Yeah, just separated physically, just from being in the military, on the ship, her on the shore, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Got married young, had kids young, was in the military. What led you guys to then deciding to after doing all that stuff, to then work together? Because you start like some Rustic and Main, not that it's new, but it's newer compared to the trajectory of your life.
Yeah, it's actually like our 20th year anniversary is the year that Rustic and Main launched. So we were 20 years into our marriage. That would make us in our upper 30s at that point. So I'm telling the story of...
Yeah, so basically I was doing IT stuff. We had homeschooled, and the kids had gotten to a place, or close to a place, where they were kind of starting to launch a little bit. And so Summer had homeschooled the kids, and I'd done IT stuff for a number of years. And I just wanted to do something with my hands. I wanted to do something entrepreneurial. And so I decided, I would one day I made a ring for myself in the garage out of wood. With all the typing and stuff that I was doing, I started to get carpal tunnel feelings in my hands. And I think I just didn't want to wear my gold ring. And so that's kind of how this idea of just creating wood rings started off. And then it was that company, basically Rustic Main, just took off like a shot. And so working together was just like it was almost like necessary, really. I mean, like you wanted to be a part of it anyhow, because it was just like chaos.
Chaos in my house.
Yeah, it's chaos in the house. And so we just was like, all right, we'll do this together for a while and see how it goes. But it wasn't like we didn't have this sort of set out plan of like, we're just going to work together for years, because we hadn't done that. We had kids. She had the home rule sort of, which was just a lot more chaos in management. And then I had the, IT role, or the outside of the house making money role. And so we kind of had that separation for pretty much our entire marriage. And then it was just like, okay, we're going to start working together. And that was when we had to learn a lot of things about each other.
Yeah, it was actually interesting, because I think having homeschooled and having to be super, super organized, one of our sons actually had a chronic illness, and the other one was had some spectrum issues. So like just managing like healthcare and all of the OT and all the PT and all the doctor visits, and to homeschool them really well. Plus, I was raised in a jewelry store. Like my grandparents and my parents owned jewelry businesses. So it was kind of like I took those two things and put them together, and was able to just kind of step in and be like, okay, so what are we doing here at this point when it took off? Which, I mean, it only took about 5 months for his phone, because Shopify has a sound whenever you make a sale and it goes cha-ching, right? Like it was like constantly like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. And we're like, this is a legitimate thing going on. Yeah.
So how have you guys divided the roles in the company? So I know at first it was probably a lot of chaos, but over the last 20 years, what roles have you guys developed into, and how did you not necessarily fight out which lane was whose, but how did you determine who was better suited for each lane?
We're
still fighting it out, I guess, sometimes, but
it's hard, because like I always thought of Summer as, I knew that she was really creative, because she's got a lot of artistic background. She loves art and visuals and interior design and all that. But in my mind, I kind of had her pegged as more of like the management kind of person, because of all the management she had to do in the house to keep things rolling. But it turns out we're actually both very visionary. And so it took a couple of years into the business to kind of realize that, we're actually both really visionary people. We bring new ideas to the table. That's our natural gifting. And while she has more of the management and sort of operational management sort of capabilities, we both really desire to be more in that visionary seat. And so we end up sort of trading off sometimes our roles in the business based upon, like, I can do this for a period of time, even though it's not my gifting. You can do this for a period of time, even though it's not your gifting. But I think a lot of it has been us sort of reaching to the point where it's like, okay, I'm not the best at this. Can you take this on? Okay. And then she'll do it for a while, and it'll get a little bit better. And then I'll, trade off and stuff like that. So we've really discovered a lot about each other just through that process.
Well, there's definite things that, like, Michael loves tech. He loves IT. like one of the reasons the business took off was because he had web design experience already. He had a lot of tech design experience. I could care less about that. I mean, absolutely. So there's definitely domains I'm like, you do that, right? And he does not like numbers. So like I was the original bookkeeper, right? Before he got a real bookkeeper. I love numbers. I love analytics. I love KPIs. I like to know like how does this number reflect what's happening in this other part of the business and stuff like that. Those are natural divisions for us. And we both love like the branding and the marketing part. So I think that's probably where we get a little bit more like sticky with our roles because we are both very opinionated about what should be happening with marketing and very passionate about it. So, but he referred to visionary, which for people who don't know about that, we use like EOS, which is an entrepreneurial operating system. And that was a game changer when we were able to say, like, this is a visionary role, which is the person who kind of is the face of the brand and like what's happening in 2, 5, 10 years. And here's an integrator role, which is I'm taking the strategy and I'm actually implementing it. When we were able to say these are two different roles, I would tend to definitely be the implementer. Like that's where I love it, but I find it tiring. And I love visionary stuff. I don't find that tiring. So like sometimes he steps in more on operations, but I tend to like it a lot more than he does.
You do. Yep.
Yeah, and we found traction. We found Gina Wickman like a year ago, probably about a decade ago.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same with us. Like I find a lot of times we both want to do the visionary thing is more fulfilling sometimes for both of us. But like, yeah, we definitely have to find that times to be the implementer.
I'm the implementer.
You are definitely
for a lot of the times.
Yes,
like we also talk about the how and the wow person. He's the wow person, and I'm like, that's great, but how are we going to make that happen?
Oh, I love that. The wow and the how.
That's
yes.
good.
So, and we've got great people in our business because we're both wows. And they'll be like, okay, so how's that going to happen? I'm like, let's make this new product, or, let's do this awesome giant shoot, like photography shoot that's going to last a week. And people are like, how is that going to happen? I'm like, oh yeah, that's right.
Well, and I guess it's a good question of like, now that you guys kind of follow the EOS, how have you done, or how's it been getting your team members to be on board with all of those ideas and visions and things you want to do?
I think it's key. One of the EOS principles is having your 90-day streaks. So we have like a yearly meeting with each department. We try to identify like what worked well and what do we want to do differently going forward. And we actually pull together our goals. And then we say, okay, here's our goals for the next year. Do they work? And if they do work, like what are we going to do for the first quarter? We also have like the L10s, which are the 90-minute meetings. Well, they should never be more than 90 minutes. Meetings that we have it with our marketing team. We have it with our leadership team. And that's where we discuss like anything that, all the goals are broken down. How are we achieving them? What's our roadblocks? So usually in a business, you'll have a couple of people who can broadly see where we're going and understand that. But most people just want that, like, what are we doing this month? Right. So just breaking it down to what are we doing this month? What are we doing this week? That's really helped them get on board with it. So,
and I think if they go from having sort of these off the cuff discussions here and there, trying to get a hold of management to have to share some information, and they go from whatever that unstructured system is that they have in place, and they go to a structured system, literally like that first week after they have their first 90, like, or their L10 meeting, and they just sit down and kind of walk through it in a very structured format, and everybody stays on pace. It's everybody's on board almost immediately after that, just because it feels so like, oh, we accomplished so much so efficiently, and we just want to do that again. So that's been great.
Well, and I think we find a lot that, especially like in our industry, when people come over from other companies and work with us, like other companies don't have that structure, that organization, that drive to hit goals. They just are trying to make it through the day and produce that one thing. So yeah, it's awesome that you guys do that.
And how do you think that your company's values are mirroring your personal values? How are you trying to bring that vision to your team?
It's kind of interesting since we started in a home and we had 7 employees working from our home before we actually left and got into an actual building. It's always been like the business has always felt like homey, right? We always try to make it feel like family. But also some of our core values of like being diligent, right? Like be diligent.
Be a family, but we have, I mean, yeah, we have our core values listed out, but we bring them up every team meeting, that kind of stuff. But it all does extend from this sort of heart of like, we still want everybody to feel like happy to be together, to be a family, and really feel connected. We're kind of split between 4 different buildings right now, which makes it a challenge. I mean, it's great to have the growth, but it's also sometimes like we'll hire somebody new, and it's until the next team meeting that people really get a chance to meet that person, which is just kind of strange for our company. But yeah, we definitely have our own personal values are definitely influenced throughout the company, and it's just making sure that gets reiterated and shown to everybody on a regular basis as much as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, because we are, let's see, I would say a Christian company, right? That definitely is woven into things. Like the reason, like all of our values will have something that probably has to do with the Bible, right? There's something in biblical about why we chose that. Even how we pay people like once a week, and there's that scripture that is like give a man his due. Is that Proverbs?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Maybe
something like that.
give it. So it's like, okay, I know so companies do every 2 weeks or, once a month for certain roles. And we're like, no, like you work a week, you're going to get paid. You work a week, you're going to get paid. So, and even how we do branding, we don't follow trends. I hope this is not considered X-rated for your guys' podcast, but like, we'll actually have people tag us in boudoir photos, like, because we're wedding centric. So I guess they do that for a gift for the husband or something. And they send us boudoir photos or overly revealing like things to show. And I mean, we could show it. We could get traction on that, right? People love to see things that are scandalous or provocative. And we could get more followers if we showed this type of content, which that's what they want us to do. That kind of blows my mind, right? But we're like, no, like modesty is a big thing for us. The sanctity of marriage. We've had competitors who are literally in the wedding ring business, and they'll make jokes about, brides being bridezillas, guys being dumb, their ring will last longer than your marriage, derogatory stuff about your future mother-in-law. And I'm like, that's just not us. Like, we love marriage, right? We love marriage. We think it's a great design from God. And why do we want to belittle it, even if it gets like people to laugh at us or people to click? So,
Right.
You guys started the business sort of when the boys were a little bit older, but like, what do you hope that the boys have learned by watching you guys run your business from the garage all the way up to 4 different buildings now?
yeah.
I think just seeing that once you see that entrepreneurship is possible, I think that in itself is a big boost to what you can accomplish on your own. So I think just seeing that the fact that mom and dad, because they grew up with us not being entrepreneurs, but then having see that just come about, I think that in itself is huge. And I think also they've seen sort of from their own vantage point. I mean, they've gone off to college and done their own thing, but they've been able to see sort of the ups and downs of the seasons of the business too. Like, quick growth, but then you're trying to keep up with just the management of everybody and, what building are you in and all that kind of stuff. Going through the lockdown years where it was like we literally brought everybody back to our house or back to their own garages to work. It was just crazy times, right? And so they've seen that. They've seen the stress that it puts on us sometimes as business owners. But I think they're also understanding, so that they get the entrepreneurship that they see, but they also see the reality of it. That it's a tough thing. So if you want to do this, you need to be ready for that long haul, and be ready for some of the late nights and the challenges that come along with it. But ultimately, I think also they see the freedom that comes along with it, the joy that comes along with it, having all the people meet in our house sometimes or at team meetings and things of that nature. So, I think there's a lot of positives that they'll get from it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think an example of that is our oldest son, Aiden, is actually a graduate from Liberty University. He graduated from the film department, and he's launching his career as he wants to be a director and writer. And being able to like coach him and his friends on like their website and their marketing and like what's your name, what's the name going to be, and of your business and different things like that. That's been a lot of fun. Like sometimes when you have older, maybe it's different with girls, but older boys, they think you don't know as much for a period of time. And now we're seeing them come back and start asking us questions, about, hey, what do you think about this career move? What do you think about naming the business this? And it's a lot of fun.
That's so cool. What is a product or a client personality type that you think is the most fun to deal with?
I love having people come in and talk about the inlays and what the inlays mean in the ring. So for people who don't know our brand, we do like engagement ring and like rings that are like typical jewelry with gemstones, but we also do bands that people can give us their own materials to put into them. So hearing some of the stories, like anything from like, a woman in her 70s whose husband's passed, and his thing was he would like tend her rose garden. So here's roses from her rose garden to put in a ring to remember her husband. We've done, like, we just did a set of rings for a family that lost a son, a 12-year-old, and we ended up putting like his fingerprint on the ring for them. One incredible ring that we did was, it was the cutest couple. The guy had a grandfather that passed before he was born, and people said, oh, you look and you act just like this grandfather. And he would actually smoke pipes. So we took pipe wood from one of the pipes. We took gold from his grandfather that was still alive, that he said was his best friend. And we took flowers from the bridal bouquet, and that's what we made his ring with. So it's just hearing everybody's stories and why they pick what they pick. And it's just, yeah, both of us are just, we love stories, right?
Mhm.
Like that's evident in our son who is going into the film industry. He got that honest from us. We love like a good story. So
Yeah, ditto all of that. Those are the best stories,
Mhm.
and we'll pass those stories around inside the in the company, and people will be tearing up, just from hearing them and stuff. It's fantastic what we get to do.
Mike, I also want to talk about you all, I won't call it a side hustle, but you get a little side hustle with writing. You wrote a book, Tending the Fire, Ignite Your Heart, and Live Life as a Man. Tell us a little bit about the book and what
Oh
started
yeah,
it.
so Tending the Fire is part of another project called Wolf and Iron. And so Wolf and Iron actually began just about 2.5 years before Rustic and Main kicked off. And it was actually sort of a little bit of a catalyst for Rustic and Main. So that wood ring I was telling you guys about that I made, I actually posted a little blog on Wolf and Iron about that. Now, Wolf and Iron is all about helping men, better fathers, husbands, leaders, and so on. But I put a blog out there just about making a wood ring because I thought it was cool. And that actually became the number one article on Wolf and Iron for like a long time, and that was evidence to me that like, oh, people are actually interested in this. This could be a thing. But so anyhow, as part of that project to just help men become better men, journey that I'm on myself, have been on for years. I wrote a book called Tending the Fire. It just kind of unpacks some of those things. Yeah.
He also wrote a book about pocket knives with Ulysses. Was it Ulysses?
Oh, Ulysses Press. Yeah, yeah.
Well, Ulysses
That was the
Press.
first book.
So
Yeah.
that's the first book he wrote. That was from a blog he had written about pocket knives, and they had contacted him and said, hey, we need a book about the history of pocket knives and everything. So that was his first book. That was a lot of fun too.
That was fun. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
So cool.
Nice, yeah, that's great. I mean, you guys are doing so much, and like if you get a chance, and tell us a little bit about like how people can find Rustic and Main and some of the other cool things you guys can do.
You can head over to rusticandmain.com. That's Main, like Main Street, not the state. So it's sort of a division. It's sort of a combination of like the rustic lifestyle and sort of Main Street living, and bringing those two things together. So rusticandmain.com, and then wolfandiron.com. And you can head over there and see what we've got going on with that as well.
Yeah, and some of the exciting things that we like to do for people, like we mentioned, is use your own inlays. So we have our own inlays. We have teak from the USS North Carolinas, light decking. We have meteorite. We got dinosaur bone. We've got all sorts of things. But we have people who send in like part of their fatigues from their military career. We have people who send us rocks from their first rock climbing expedition and all that kind of stuff. And we also love like redesigning and working with materials for people's like engagement rings or anniversary bands. So if somebody has a piece of jewelry, say it's grandma's pendant, right? And they're like, oh, it's not really my style, but I want to have that. People can send us items in, and we can help take that and make that into a ring or a piece of jewelry that's special to them, that kind of honors the previous generations. We just made, I love this story. And this is actually one of my dear friends. We made a ring for her. She had I think they've been married for 8 years at this point, and she wanted something a little bit bigger. Her ring that she had was a little bit too small. And she came in, and Deontay, who's our ring designer, worked with her to do like a black diamond ring. But he suggested, let's do you guys know what a hidden halo is? Most jewelry
No.
people don't. So a hidden halo is under your stone. Might be diamonds or different like decorations that are under your stone, so people wouldn't immediately see it.
Yeah.
You probably have to take off your ring to show it off. We actually were able to add under that halo different birthstones for her 3 children that are living and one that passed. So under her halo, under her new engagement ring or her wedding band is actually stones that represent each of her children.
Oh, that's so sweet.
We just love that. Goes back to the I mean, you can go to Zell's or Brown, I don't know what's national, like Brilliant Earth or whatever, and pick out a piece of jewelry. But what we really want to do is tell somebody's story, right? Like about your children, about your grandma, like all that type of stuff.
Oh, I love that. I could just talk to you guys forever, but I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for spending the morning with us and chatting. This is so fascinating, and I have so many things that I wrote down that I want to look into more, but we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's been fun.
It's just so fascinating. I love hearing other people's stories, and I really loved that that's what Summer said too, that through this process of making custom wedding rings, she gets to hear other people's stories, and she's like my new best friend. Like there's so much we have so much in common, and it's so cool to be able to find other people who are going through similar journeys to ours, different industries, different parts of the country, but digging into the EOS system and, running meetings and building that team from this teeny tiny spot where they had people coming in, going from their personal bathroom to this warehouse.
Yeah. And I think it's, it's really interesting too, because I think, we talk a lot about how like I'm the wow person and you're the how person. And it was fun to talk about how like they both feel like they're both wow people, and they've been able to find team members that can kind of help them with the how part of it. Like, and I think sometimes that's what you need. You need to recognize, hey, I'm good at these things. I'm great at getting excited and coming up with ideas. I really need to hire somebody who will come to me and be like, okay, that's a great idea. How are we going to do it?
And that they've been able to build their departments around that, so that they've built a culture where each department is talking about what worked well, what do we want to do next year, how are we going to get there, around this amazing custom product where they can take old items and honor somebody, honor a loved one, honor a moment, it's just so kind of cool.
And I love the stories of people who have, they've done the corporate, they've done the 9 to 5 like grind thing, and they were just ready to do their own and have their own thing, and like just starting in your garage, starting with whatever, an Etsy page or whatever, and started to sell these things, and then to find a way to work together as a husband and wife team to build that into what they are now, which is all these team members, 4 different locations, all that stuff.
Because we know how scary it is, right? Like most of you guys who are listening are doing it together. You're all in on this, and that can be scary, and you have to lean on each other, and sometimes the person you want to complain about is each other too.
Well, and I think it's good for me, like listening to somebody like them talk, it's good to hear, because you and I have, we have worked together in our business for 20 plus years now. Like we don't have that experience of working for somebody else and then saying I'm done and I want to start my own thing. And so sometimes I think as people have done it like how we've done it, there are times I go, oh, I just wish I could go work for somebody else and be told what to do. and hearing other people's stories about, hey, I was tired of that, I wanted to get out of it and do my own thing, reminds me of like, yeah, we are doing the right thing. We do have it great. We need to keep working hard and doing better.
Yeah. And so in addition to running the business, they also are doing things on the side too.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting, talking to Mike, and I honestly, right after we got done meeting with them, I went and downloaded his book, Tending the Fire, Ignite Your Heart and Live Life as a Man, which you can get, by the way. I listened to it and Mike reads it on audible.com. You can get free 30 days of Audible on us. Go to audibletrial.com and you can have the soothing tones of Mike Yarbrough in your ears reading his book. But it was really interesting to listen to the book, and it talks a lot about, well, first of all, Allison, I should have said this right off the bat. The most important thing in the book talks about is how I should grow a mustache.
No.
I mean, the book says we should have a mustache.
That would be great if you could grow a mustache.
I can grow a mustache. It might be a little gray, but I can grow a mustache. Give me a break. But Mike's book is great. It really is interesting. He's obviously a Teddy Roosevelt fan, Allison. There's a ton of Teddy Roosevelt quotes. One of my favorite things in the book is every time he talks about Teddy Roosevelt, he gives like a little Teddy Roosevelt, president, and then he'll go through crime stuff. He'll give it like a different titles at the end of what Teddy Roosevelt was. It'll be like Crime Stopper and Rustic Man, and it's just really interesting.
That's
funny.
Cool.
It's funny too. But it is really interesting to take a few minutes and listen to it and think about like what our role is and how, as a man in a family, like how over time society has changed that role a little bit, and sometimes kind of going back to what it was helps you think about, it is providing, being strong, being grounded, and being connected to yourself is really important. So if you get a chance, check out Rustic Main, which is amazing jewelry.
Yeah, and you can order things online from them too.
Yeah, direct, you can send them, you can mail them something and they will make a custom ring for you. And check out Mike's book, Tending the Fire, Ignite Your Heart and Live Life as a Man, which you can get on Audible.
Yeah, and what's great about Audible is it gives you the option to listen to so many different things and different points of view and business and fiction and nonfiction. So check it out.
Yeah, check it out. audibletrial.com/bizmarried. Get a free 30 days of Audible on us. And also check us out. You can go to our website, marriedwithabusiness.net, learn a little bit more about us there. You can also find us on all the social medias. Instagram, we're at BizMarried, or you can just search Married with a Business on Facebook. Hit us up, send us something, follow, all those things that people say to do. But thanks everybody for listening. We'll be back soon with another show. And remember, not only is it important to focus on your business, but also your marriage, because we're married with a business.